we're going to make a start with our luminance file. Only two things we need to do here. First, we're going to use dynamic background extraction to take out the gradients, take out the nasty background. Yeah, so let's change this sample color something a bit brighter. Okay, so if you saw my M41 videos, it's kind of a case of picking background. This can be a bit tedious, but I have to admit it produces great results, like really good. So I'm just gonna start throwing some down in the corners to see if the tolerance, see we had red here, so we can increase our tolerance to 0.75, resize them, and it turned white, which is good, which means that we had a nice sample point. The trouble with this image is there's a lot of nebulosity. There's a lot of dust, and it's a kind of a case of picking the darkest points, because you don't want to the sample points. You don't want to let it get affected by nebulous regions, really, because there's a lot of dust, obviously, that you could potentially take out. I don't know the full ins and outs and workings of DBE, but for images like this, where there's a lot of dust, you have to be very sort of critical where you're placing. See, now I know here that there is actually parts of black in this image here, which I can take and use for background extraction, because all I want to do is eliminate the gradient, because you can see there's a gradient across this image. It's quite light here and dark here, so we want to make sure that that's all we're getting. See that bit of black here? We just yeah, that'll do. One more down there, one more in the outer corner, maybe one up here, as I know it's kind of empty space, and there's no such thing, but one just there. What we'll do is we'll subtract, but we'll just do a test run. We just run it. It'll give us two images back. It'll give us a new one. It'll give a background of what it extracted. Now, that looks pretty consistent with the gradient I had in the image, so the extraction looks good. Yeah, see, it looks quite balanced color-wise. I know there's no color, black and white, but it looks even across. Yep. Okay, we'll go with that. So we'll close that. Yes. Close that. This now becomes our new luminance master. So what we're going to do now, run some noise reduction on it. So we're just going to duplicate the file, and then what we need to do is turn the clone into a non-linear image by just, if we bring up the screen transfer function, which is what auto stretches, and also histogram transformation tool. That's already auto stretched, so if I turn it off, I turn it on. So the screen transfer function is already doing that. So if I copy the contents of the function, this is what it is, that's what it will be. Now we apply it permanently. So that has now become, see, there's no screen transfer function working, so that's now a non-linear image. We're going to use that again we're going to use that again, so we'll keep that. So now this is non-linear, that's linear. This makes the perfect mask, so we can apply the mask. We'll minimize the mask, put it up there. Now we want to invert this mask. There we go. And now we're going to run some noise reduction. So processes, noise reduction, linear transform. Noise reduction, oops, tick the box. We'll leave the first one at 3, drop it to 50%, 2 iterations. 2, noise reduction, we'll drop that to 2, 50%, 2 iterations. Level 3, down to 1, oops, 50%, 1 iteration, and then finally 0.5, go on, 50%, 1 iteration, and we'll just apply it. Let that run its magic, and then we can see the comparison in a second. We're going to use that again also, so we'll leave that there. So if we go in on this image, if we unshow the mask and then undo the change, you can see the noise, reapply. It just gets rid of some of the noise. This is only the luminance noise reduction. We'll also do it in the RGB, and then we'll also do final noise reduction in the combined LRGB image. So that one, mask, we can remove the mask, and that is pretty much it for the luminance. So what we'll do now is we'll just save that. HDR loom, save, yes, okay. So that's our luminance finished with. So next step will be the RGB file.